Apparently, Dame Dash is trying to auction off an NFT of Jay-Z's 1996 classic album, Reasonable Doubt. It is being reported that Roc-a-fella Records is suing Dame Dash, a.k.a. Dusko Poppington, a.k.a. one of the three co-founders of Roc-a-fella Records, along with Jay-Z and Kareem Biggs Burke. It is being reported by TMZ and other news outlets that Roc-a-fella Records is suing Dame Dash to stop the auction and affect the transfer of any existing NFT to them. However, it's weird to note that Roc-a-fella Records is not doing business anymore. There is no indication that Roc-a-fella Records is an active business at this point. The last time there was any mention of them doing business was when Jay-Z released Magna Carta Holy Grail back in 2013. So who is directing this dead company to file a lawsuit against Dame Dash? I think it's pretty easy to assume Jay-Z is directing the legal action. After all, Reasonable Doubt is his album as a performer and writer. He was a co-founder of Roc-a-fella Records. He's a billionaire. He just recently filed another lawsuit related to Reasonable Doubt intellectual property. Also, he's friggin' Jay-Z. And the cherry on top is that the high-powered attorney who filed the suit against Dame Dash has worked for Roc Nation, helped Jay-Z and Meek Mill with their criminal justice campaign. And, oh yeah, he's directly represented Jay-Z in the past. So, come on. It's curious as to why most media outlets aren't being direct about who is really suing Dame Dash. Who is the person? Who is the force going after Dame Dash? Even though it's a technicality and a legal technicality at that most people might not care about, it's almost like a huge chunk of the media doesn't want to point out that it's Jay-Z going after Dame Dash directly. Now, could this be some kind of Illuminati thing? I have no idea. Thus far, it appears that Page 6 is the only media outlet that I have noticed, that I have seen, that I can attest to, that is painting a clear picture as to who the parties are and what exactly is going on. And this little detail might be lost in the shuffle, but I think it is very important in terms of how narratives are painted. And it's like, dude, is there some sort of thing going on where like Jay-Z is being insulated from any heat related to going after Dame Dash? Like, come on, dude, we know what's going on. But do we really know what's going on? Because most people are just like drones out there, like reading these headlines, and they're not connecting all of the dots, even if there's just one extra dot to connect. But anyways, the main significance behind this suit, behind this event, is that Jay-Z is going directly after Dame Dash. Now they are going head to head in a very real way, right out in public where we can see what is going on. There's been a lot of speculation over the years and some associated hip-hop folklore about how Jay-Z and Dame Dash fell out and whether Jay-Z cut Dame out of money that should have gone to him. And we're not talking about a little bit of money either. We're talking about tens of millions of dollars. Because Jay-Z went on to become a billionaire and Dame Dash seems to have had some periodic financial, let us say, difficulties over the years, there is a public perception that Dame was probably screwed out of some money, or he's simply an idiot who squandered away what should have been, at the very least, tens of millions of dollars by the time he was ditched by Jay-Z. But basically everyone thinks that he was screwed out of all this money. Over the years, Jay-Z hasn't said much or anything noteworthy about Dame and how they parted ways. It was just like some matter of fact, like, oh yeah, then, you know, that just happened. Like it wasn't any sort of like significant thing that happened, while Dame has mostly tried to remain tight-lipped about it, but has gone off the rails a few times, talking some shit about Jay-Z, throwing some dirt on him. He also famously once said he doesn't want to talk about Jay-Z anymore because he associates with known snitches. And by that, he was referring to none other than Desiree Perez, one of Jay-Z's overlords at Roc Nation. She helped the feds in exchange for her freedom and some drug trafficking charges, and was not too long ago given a presidential pardon by former U.S. President Donald Trump. There's been some speculation that the sanitizing of her record, although, it seems like it would be unnecessary at this point, was done to smooth the way for her to be a head honcho in some kind of marijuana operation for Jay-Z in the future. Talking about like a green technology company. Some of you young folks out there may not realize how culturally significant it is that Jay-Z and Dame Dash are finally going head to head in the public eye after all these years and all the bad blood that's between them. Jay-Z's suit against Dash to stop any future sale of the Reasonable Doubt NFT and transfer of it, if it exists, says that although Dame held a 1/3 equity position in Roc-a-fella Records, he doesn't hold the copyright to the music and cannot sell the related copyright and ownership interest. Generally speaking, the record company itself will usually at least hold the copyright to the sound recordings. Pertinent and controlling to this suit will be corporate governance papers or any kind of business governance papers, unwinding agreements, and any other applicable agreements between the parties, which may shed light on how things were going to be dealt with in the future related to any of the copyright that the company held at that point. At best, even if Dame can show he owns a 1/3 interest of some aspect of the related copyrights, how would that allow him to sell the whole thing without the approval of the other two equity owners or other two copyright holders? It's shady and clearly a grab at something that would not belong to him in whole with any understanding of the underlying facts. Given the cold relationship between Jay-Z and Dame, the fact that Jay-Z wants to own all of his intellectual property and Dame is very resentful about getting kicked to the curb while Jay-Z thrived over the years culturally and financially, we're probably going to see Dame having a very big meltdown shortly, and it's going to be very juicy.